interviewed by UCC churches for my first call. One church up in Fond du Lac thought that they would kind of get at, you know, how Catholic is she? You know, how real is this conversion? By asking me, if a woman were to come to you and tell you that she was contemplating having an abortion, what would you do? I looked at them and, in all honesty, said I would sit down with her and talk about what a huge decision this is. I have never encountered someone who has undertaken this lightly. And so when the idea of counseling someone who is contemplating abortion comes up, we're talking about engaging someone who and helping her to understand that she has such dignity and such a responsibility within with her body, and that is something that amidst all of the politics that surround this, caring for her is critical. The United Church of Christ has been making official pronouncements on reproductive freedom since 1971. Now, how many of you have ever heard of the United Church of Christ? Oh, a couple. That's actually more than normal. This is a friendly crowd. The United Church of Christ is a 1957 merger of the Congregational Christian Church and the Evangelical Reformed Church. What that ends up meaning is that nobody usually knows who we are. And because who people do know is the Congregational Christian Church, the Pilgrims. And if you remember then that our church is the church of the Pilgrims, the first thing that, probably the only thing you know about the Pilgrims is what you learned in first, second, third grade when you were heading into Thanksgiving, and that was the whole idea that the Pilgrims came to this country because of religious persecution. I'm going to give you a very, very broad brushstroke to give you one more line to add to that, and that is that the religious persecution that the Congregationalists came to avoid or to get out from under really stemmed from the English Reformation, and the whole idea that when King Henry VIII had wanted to divorce and remarry, he convinced and again, these are really broad brush strokes, I apologize to the rest of the religious folk in my midst. When King Henry VIII wanted to be able to divorce, he convinced all of the other religious leaders in England, or tried to convince them, that there was no head of the church on earth, and therefore they shouldn't have to listen to the Pope. Well, a bunch of people bought that line, and then very shortly after the split of the English church from the Roman church, guess what happened? King Henry started thinking that he was Pope. He started behaving as if he was the head of the church on earth. And who the Pilgrims are, and again, very broad brushstrokes, who the Pilgrims are the people who said, no, we actually believed you when you said, and when you taught us, that there is no human head of the church, and that human conscience is absolutely critical in making our moral decisions, and our personal relationship with God is primary. That how we have had a relationship with God will determine what is right for us in the eyes of God. So it's that history that really ends up laying the foundations for our church's understandings. Since 1971, the United Church of Christ has been making pronouncements on reproductive freedom, and has always been standing up for women's right to choose, in part because of this idea of conscience, but also because of justice. The language that you'll hear coming from the church now is really around areas of racial, economic, cultural, and structural constraints to women's power. And so when our church looks at how it is that reproductive issues are being dealt with, we notice right away that it happens to be poor Black women who are having the highest infant mortality rates. We're noticing that premature births, low birth weights, and infant and maternal mortality skyrocket around issues of race and economics. And so a woman is, our church really believes that what we need to be addressing what women need to assure the health of their bodies and of themselves. We support and defend a woman's right to terminate a pregnancy safely and with dignity, and we also believe that if we could prevent unintended pregnancy, then we could therefore reduce the need for abortion. The one quote that I want to lift up is actually from another woman who was raised Catholic. I believe that she is still part of it. Nancy Keenan from NARAL, when she was asked by her bishop how it is that she could be pro-choice, she said, "I'm tired of changing the subject every time the issue of religion comes up, as if the God I hear with my ears doesn't inform my beliefs too." And so, really, the United Church of Christ stands where we do because we believe that the God of every woman is someone that woman can relate to, appeal to, and that this choice is between her